Merry Christmas, teachers. I hope you've had a great semester as you've been able to work with the students during the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It's been kind of nice to close out the semester thinking about the way John at least teaches the atonement and teaches the things that happen through the crucifixion. As we prepare to begin the Book of Mormon, recognize that we really do have a blessed opportunity to be able to go right from the New Testament into the Book of Mormon in a way that we've never really been able to do it before. And we'll be able to show how both can be used. So to show what I mean, we're going to use the Christmas story as told in Luke chapter 2. At least focus on one small portion of it and how we can use the Book of Mormon to better help us understand some of the things that even took place in a story that we know very well from the Bible. First off, consider what the stable must have looked like that Mary and Joseph are in. A lot of times we tend to picture it like this picture shows, with nice clean straw and gentle animals just kind of lazily lying about. I used to work on a ranch, and I've never seen a stable that looks quite like the stables that we use to set up for Christmas nativity scenes. They tend to be very dirty, very smelly, flies all over the place, not the best of places to give birth. So how do you think you're feeling if you're Mary? You know that you're carrying the Messiah. You begin to go into labor. Imagine what she's praying for at that point. And we don't know much at all about what she's going through or what she's feeling. We can only guess that this is probably not the best time for her to go through labor. But consider, why the stable? Is God just being dramatic here? I don't know of any other place in the scriptures where God does things just to be dramatic. There's always purpose in everything that he does. And some will say, well, it's to fulfill prophecy. But the prophecy was given because the Lord knew that this was going to be the situation that they're in. But as you look at the Book of Mormon, there's far more going on. And we actually begin to see the beginning of the Savior's role as a Savior just through his birth. So if we go into 3 Nephi chapter 1, verse 4, we find out that there's a lot of the signs that Samuel the Lamanite had given that are being fulfilled to prepare us for the birth of Christ, or at least so that they will know that Christ has been born in the Holy Land. Miracles are being performed, all showing that it's happening the way Samuel the Lamanite claimed that it was going to happen. However, in verse 5, some begin to rejoice, saying that the 5 years has already passed. It's been too long since Samuel's prophecy was given. And by the time we get to verse 9, they actually set apart a day that if that final sign, the day and a night, the day of no darkness, if that doesn't happen by a certain time, they're going to kill all of the believers. And then, of course, in verses 11 and 12, we get Nephi, who's on his knees pleading with the Lord to have the sign given. Now, imagine what's happening on the other side of the world. We get Mary, that's in one of the worst conditions to give birth that I can think of. And on the other side of the world, we get Nephi pleading that please let it happen tonight. Now, we don't know what Mary's prayers are, but I'm guessing that she's probably hoping that the labor doesn't happen tonight. So, we're not going to spend much time with what that means, but just in the understanding that we get by looking at both sources. And so some questions to consider. How do the Bible and Book of Mormon testify of each other? As we look at some of the things that are happening on both sides of the globe, are there things that we can understand about the characteristics of Christ as he's working with two different groups of people, sometimes at the same time, if we look at some of the things that are happening in the Bible at the same time that they're happening in the Book of Mormon? The last question that I really want you to consider as we begin the Book of Mormon: how can we make sure that we're looking for Christ as actively in the Book of Mormon as we did in the Gospels? It's very easy to see the Savior because he's right there in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but recognize he is all the way through the Book of Mormon as well. We need to be looking for what we learn about his characteristics, what we learn about the way he deals with his people, and especially just the love that he has for all mankind, even the purpose of our trials. I don't know when Mary found out why the Savior needed to be born that night. She might have gone to her death wondering why the Lord had to be born in the situation that he was. But my guess is as she moves into the spirit world, she probably finds out very quickly from some of the Nephites that would have probably already been there that their life was saved because of the situation that she's in. We can use both the Bible and the Book of Mormon to testify of each other and to help us learn more deeply about who Christ is and his relationship with us. It will greatly bless our students, but we've got to help them see where the Savior shows up throughout the Book of Mormon and help them look for and learn to find Christ as they're studying in the Book of Mormon.